Welcome back to part 2 of Soundwell Guitar's lesson in reading music using our fingerpicking technique known as the Apoyando stroke. So in our last lesson we learned to read music. We learned to read the pitch as well as the value of the notes. If you remember, the value was the length of time that the note was held out for. We had notes that rang out for 4 beats, and we had notes that rang out for 2, and we had notes that rang out for 1. So today we're actually going to learn to read some new pitches that involve playing other strings. But first we're going to start off by learning to read a new note value. And that is, you probably guessed it, a note that has a value of 3 beats. This is what is known as the dotted half note. The dotted half note very simply just gets 3 beats, but now I'm going to break it down into technical terms. Whenever you put a dot ahead of a note, what you're doing is taking half of its value and adding it to it. So you take a half note that has 2 beats, and then you put a dot next to it, take half of its value of 2 beats, which is 1, and add it to it. That's 2 plus 1 equals 3. So again, that's kind of the more technical, complicated way of breaking it down. If you didn't catch all that, the simplest way to understand the dotted half note is that it gets 3 beats. And it's very recognizable. Don't confuse it with the half note because they look very similar, but just remember when you see that dot next to it, it's not a typo. That's actually part of the note value indicating 3 beats. And in this case, with a note that has a value of 3 beats, it's simply just counted 1, 2, 3, and it's over. Now let's get into reading our new notes. We're going to start today by reading some notes now that are played on the 2nd string, and we're going to start first by just playing that string open, no fretting hand required, and the name of this note is B. Now you can see then in our staff, as I wrote it in there as a whole note, the note B is located directly in the center of the staff, right in the very center. Okay, our next note that we're going to do raises that note simply a half step and moves that note into the space right above that line that the B was on, and we have the note known as C, and that's played on the same string, the 2nd string again, and that's on the 1st fret, and I fretted that with my 1st finger, and I'll give you a little close-up of that. 2nd string, 1st fret. Our next note is going to be on the same string, 3rd fret this time. We'll use the 3rd finger. The name of this note is D. As you can see, that one is written on that 2nd to the top line there. So we got our B in the very center on a line, our C in the space there, the 2nd one from the top, and then the 2nd line from the top, we have our D. All right, let's practice reading these. We'll just start out with a simple exercise doing whole notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice on this exercise as well, I did alternate using the index and middle. Okay, next exercise, reading the same notes, B, C, and D on the 2nd string. We're just going to practice reading those using our half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more exercise. Just playing B, C, and D on the 2nd string, but we're going to mix up our note values a little bit, and we're bringing the dotted half note into this exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're starting to rack up knowledge of note reading quite quickly. We're going to actually move on to the third string now, and we're just going to do 2 notes on that one. We're going to play that string open. That is the third string again, that's open. And the name of that note is G. And you can see that that one is getting closer to the bottom as the pitch did get lower. We are now on the second to the bottom line. Again, that's called G. Now we're going to raise that one to the second fret on that same string, the third string. I'll show you the close-up. There it is. I've got my second finger on the third string and the second fret. And that note is A. Okay, let's practice reading the 2 new notes on the third string. We'll just keep it really simple. We'll do some quarter notes, whole notes, half, and dotted half note. We'll keep it at about just 4 measures here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. At this point now, we're able to read the notes that make an entire scale. In this case, this would be known as a natural scale, as we're just doing all natural notes. We did skip over some frets when doing these because those are a little bit different, can be a little bit trickier to read, and we will get to that later. But for now, we have these notes to work with. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And so we have an exercise here that just starts from the bottom, goes up and goes back down, and this is what is known as a scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope you found the sequel to our note reading lesson helpful as we're expanding a little bit more on our knowledge of the fretboard and reading these notes, playing them in time, and knowing how to read note values as well. Stick around, there's more to this chapter coming up.